Ade had just closed his workshop late that day because of the many jobs he had at hand. He went home smiling like he had just won a lottery. He was excited. The business was already booming, unlike the previous month when he would make little or nothing. Ade's wife, Simi, was a very simple and gracious woman who was loved and adored by all. She was known for her true virtue, which was clear for anyone to see. She did not like to see anyone around her suffer and usually went out of her way to ensure that everyone was okay. Her husband, Ade, had countless times warned her about her ways and how she should stop wasting his hard earned money. But Simi could not stand to see someone suffer when she had the means to help. Her husband asked her that when they did not have money and others did, how many of them bothered to reach out to help them. Instead, they turned a blind eye to their suffering. Now that his business has picked up, they have come to ask for food. Simi told her husband that givers never lack, that even when they had little or nothing, they always managed to have something to eat. They can't judge based on hearsay. They might have been going through something themselves. Simi was a popular akara seller. She sold her akara in front of their home. Simi and Ade were blessed with two lovely children and lived with Ade's aged mother. Ade's mother doted on Simi as she symbolized grace. During Simi's youth, a lot of men tried to woo her, but she wasn't interested in being with someone who was so full of himself. She perceived all the rich suitors who came to ask for her hand in marriage as arrogant, and they pointedly kept mentioning how they would take her out of poverty. She believed in being with a man, and they could both grow and build their home together. That was how she met Ade, and they both fell in love as he had a very big dream, and she was ready to be by his side to watch him achieve all his dreams. But over the years, things had not been going so well for Ade, and she had watched him become a very bitter person, unlike the man she used to know. Ade came back one night, smiling and telling his wife that things had changed for the better, that they would soon live the life of luxury he always talked about. He became the most sought-after carpenter in town. People went to him to make saving boxes, wardrobes, bed frames, and even coffins used for burials. He had a colleague named Taiwo, who was very close to him and usually assisted by passing some jobs to him. Ade never missed work again, even if he was sick, as he did not want to risk losing the opportunity that had come his way. Not long after, he started building a new home for his family, and it became clear that business was picking up because there had been burials in the village coming up back to back. Also, all of a sudden, people started complaining the money they kept in the kolo was missing or wasn't complete. The same thing happened with wardrobes. If any expensive clothes was kept there, they would go missing and there was no hope of ever finding them. The same thing happened for an important item kept under the bed or in the tables or chairs, like money. They would just go missing, and it was beginning to cause trouble. But people still patronized Ade. Words began to reach the king, and he was summoned before the king. But he cleared his name, and the king decided to let him go. This alone made some people furious and decided to leave the rest of them in the community to their fate. One night, Simi called on her husband and asked if he had a hand in what he was being accused of. It's not like she isn't happy for their progress, but the side talks were already getting to her. Ade told his wife that even if everyone should point an accusing finger at him, definitely not her, and he was so sad about this. The people were very worried about how all these things were happening. Some went back to Taiwo and continued doing business with him, but his finishing wasn't so good. They decided it was better than their items getting lost. The king one day asked his guard to tell Ade to make him a royal stool where the staff of office would be kept. Ade was so happy and honored to do so, and he told his wife about this. He worked very late into the night, making sure the stool was ready for the king, who ordered it. He went to the palace and presented the stool to the king. The king fell in love with the stool at first sight, commended him for a job well done, and asked him to go after paying him handsomely for a job well done. He was super excited and rushed home to tell his wife what happened. He wasn't even expecting the king to pay him, but apparently he did a wonderful job and was paid even more than required. One beautiful morning, the king's guard came to his workshop and said the king required his presence. He went before the king, and the king asked where the staff of office was, as it had vanished before their eyes when it was kept inside the stool. Ade was very confused with the question thrown at him. He told the king that he had no hand in what he was being accused of. He had never once done anything to make such a thing happen. The king refused to listen to what he had to say and ordered him to leave and be locked up pending proper investigations. Simi was very restless as she had to go plead with the king on his behalf, but nothing was done about it. Simi got to speak to Ade briefly, and she said she would stand by his side no matter what, as she believed and loved him so much. Simi informed Ade that the news had reached his mother and she was very ill. This broke Ade's heart, and he wondered what he was going to do to redeem his name. The king told him that only when the staff of office returned would he be freed. Ade asked his wife to go to the neighboring village where his maternal grandmother resides and explain everything to her, as she would know what to do. Though Simi was confused, she accepted as long as her husband would be free. She went to the neighboring community, did as she was asked, and explained everything to Ade's grandmother. It turns out she was a very strong and powerful medicine woman, and she gave Simi a stick, instructing her to tell the king to produce the stool and hit him with the stick so the staff of office would return. Simi collected the stick after thanking the woman and did as instructed. She arrived at the palace and informed the king, who thought it was another ploy, but warned that if anything went wrong, her children would suffer. With her heart beating loudly and with the sole aim of rescuing her husband, not knowing if he held back some truth about his involvement, she hid the stick, and after a while, the staff of office appeared. In the gathering, people began to murmur, some shouting, "You must bring back my lost item, or else your husband will be lynched." The king ordered silence in his throne room and instructed his guards to fetch Ade. He questioned Ade and his wife about the missing item of the people in the community. Ade insisted he had no hand in the items missing. The king asked how the staff of office vanished when placed in the stool Ade made, and when he was arrested and given the condition for release, his wife got the stick that made it appear. Ade told the king that someone wanted to frame him and he couldn't understand who. The king, now wanting to jump into conclusion, gave him a week to prove his innocence while excommunicating him from the community. When he got home and rested, Ade told his wife he had to pay his grandmother a visit to clear up this mess. He made the journey the next day and went to visit his grandmother, who was so happy to see him. Seeing he wasn't so happy, she sat him down and had a conversation with him. He narrated everything he had been going through, thinking it was jealousy and lies causing his trouble, only for it to happen to the king and nearly resulted in punishment for something he knew nothing about. His grandmother told him she would give him something to put in his shop, and in due time, everything would make sense and the person behind it all would surface. He thanked her and went back home. Back home, his wife hadn't made any sales as no one wanted to patronize them. He reassured her that everything would be fine. He left for work early in the morning and hung the item his grandmother gave him at his shop's doorstep. That day, his neighbor Taiwo came to greet him. As Taiwo approached the shop and was about to go in, he started shouting and fell to the floor in pain. It was very serious and people gathered. Ade asked Taiwo what the matter was, as it was obvious he was in a lot of pain. Taiwo started apologizing, admitted he was responsible for all that happened to Ade. He said he was sorry. Ade asked him if they were struggling for something because the last time he remembered, when he got jobs, he would share and give some to Taiwo to handle, so they both went home with enough money to feed their families. Taiwo admitted it was true, but explained he used his charm on the items so that the valuables would locate him. He even confessed to making the king's staff of office disappear by sneaking in while Ade was working and hitting the stool with the charm. Ade was deeply disappointed. He had always encouraged Taiwo to use quality products and improve his finishing to attract customers. Instead, Taiwo had focused on ruining him. The youth, angered, took Taiwo to the king. The king, disappointed, banished Taiwo from the kingdom. Simi, relieved, hugged her husband. Ade became more cautious in his relationship with his peers. He completed his home, his mother recovered, and he sent gifts to thank his grandmother. Ade's popularity grew and he received many others, leading to a successful and fulfilling life. The end. The lessons to be learned from this story: never bite the hand that feeds you. Do not make assumptions based on hearsay. Seek truth. Know the people around you and be cautious about whom you trust, as not everyone is happy for your success. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please click on the subscribe button to support us. Turn on the post notification to get notified when I upload a new story. Like, share, and comment your thoughts. Till then, bye.